Hey, what's up, everybody? So maybe you've heard that once or twice before, but only you've heard it every week if you listen to the audio podcast. That's my friend Tori Pater, plays in about 3 different bands here in Denver. He did that for me, and it's been my audio podcast song since like episode 25. And this is episode 145. So you can all do the math. It's been with me for a while. And yeah, welcome to the Rideshare Rodeo Podcast Live. My co-host, sorry, I got to get used to these little changes. My co-host tonight, who's going to help me go through things different than interviewing a guest, is Dash Theory TV John. I'm sure you guys know him, even maybe from this channel or from his, for sure. But if you don't, his link is in the show notes. Check him out. He's got a lot of good breakdown videos, and it's the kind of channel I like mine, where you can just scroll through videos and find the ones by. There's no clickbaiting. He's got them labeled pretty well, so it's, I don't know. Like if I want to find something at John's, I can go find it pretty easy. Some people's libraries are a little harder to go through.
Yeah, sometimes I've encountered that myself, looking at other people's stuff, looking something up on YouTube, and it says this is the search result, but I don't know what this title has to do with what I'm looking for.
Yeah. So for those that don't know John, he has been in the gig economy for years, and has worked many of the gig apps that we use, the main brand big giants and the off-brand ones. John also has a YouTube channel that I just told you to go check out if you haven't. Like a couple videos and subscribe to it if you're liking what you're seeing. And yeah, he always has great content, great analysis. And John, thank you for co-hosting with me tonight.
Oh, thank you for having me, Steve. Appreciate it.
Yeah, you've been on here a bunch of times, but you've never been in this role. I'm wondering if it's even going to feel any different, but I don't know.
I always say, the people make the podcast. Hey, we're here to listen to you, and hey, I'll follow your lead.
Well, yeah, it's just it kind of helps me, actually, the co-host thing. I've been doing it for the summer, but it's been helping me because it helps me take on somebody else's view every week on the things because sometimes with the podcast for a long time, just the podcast, I do it alone. I would do an hour to an hour and a half alone, straight, one take, no edits. Yeah.
See, I'm just barely getting into doing, the live shows myself. So
I saw you did.
So for doing 2 hours, that just definitely that takes some skill.
And if you stumble, it stays. Like I didn't even go in and edit any dead air or like give a clap that like, okay, start it back up here. This was a bad point. Like I just did it, and whatever happened. So I thought about the start a couple times and just rolled, and I'd have all my notes out and stuff. And I actually
trial by fire is still here for a reason.
I have a curtain back here, and I actually had clipping notes in order that said note 1, note 2. They looked like giant Post-its.
So you had almost like your whole setup, yeah.
Yeah, it looked like a crime scene kind of thing.
I would say it reminds me of those like investigative reporters. Like, okay, this is going here, this is here. Have all your clues, and then have a bunch of crisscross lines in the middle.
So what's up, Gary? What's up, Bill Putnam? Hey, what's up, CJ Kanoy? So good to see you. I haven't seen you in a long time. I don't think I've seen you in a long time. What's up, Chris Taylor? What's up, Faith? And Gary Middleton again. Hey, Gary, did you see that? I didn't tag your name, but if you saw a little bit above, I put this, Gary, because I don't have I don't know. The setup I have right now, I can't do it. But if you could, I would like to have that up there so that we can try and get some signatures on that for Para. That would be sweet. What's up, Nova? How you doing? Yeah, I don't know. John, how are you? How hot is it in Phoenix? What's your favorite app right now? Because I did see that you put something up about Corner Shop, like bye Corner Shop, which you and I talked about last time you were even on here.
Yeah. I mean, the honeymoon period from Corner Shop, it's ending in a way that was, unexpected, in the sense that they're taking it away. It's not going away. They're rolling it up in the Uber Eats app, which I wait to see. I'm going to wait to see how it happens. But my expectation is that base pay is going to go down. The last video I posted about Corner Shop is talking about how it has a solid base pay, and they compensate for so many different factors. So that's that goes away August 15th, and until then, I'm doing Corner Shop as much as possible. Outside of that, yeah.
So August 15th, this is kind of what I thought would happen. I just hadn't worded it so bluntly in case it didn't, but that's what I'd been saying. When the pay goes down, this is why I thought it would happen. So is Corner Shop becoming Uber Eats or merging
Essentially,
into? So you're going to order Corner
basically.
Shop through Uber Eats. You're not
So-
going to have Uber Corner Shop.
So technically, that's already a thing. Like right now,
Yes,
I tested this out. You can order groceries through the Uber app, but it goes to a Corner Shop shopper.
Right.
It may go to both platforms now. From what I'm hearing, talking to some other people, they're seeing grocery orders in the Uber Eats app. But essentially,
Okay.
from the customer perspective, they can order through either. But from a driver perspective, we'll only be able to get the orders through the Corner Shop app after August 15th. So there was like an email they sent out, and that was, like,
Only
kind of
through the
first
Corner
one.
Shop?
I'm sorry, I said that backwards.
Only
Only
through
Uber
the Eats.
Yep. Yeah.
I just have a feeling they're just moving it into the same pay scale as Uber Eats.
Though that was one of the big things that I took away, because in that email from Corner Shop, that was, will my pay model change? The answer was a flat yes. It's going to go to the Uber Eats pay model. So yeah, before that, the biggest thing
will
is
it
Corner Shop is
change?
there, yeah.
Yes. Will it change for the better? No.
Well, I give them respect in a sense of not trying to beat around the bush and just putting it, yes, it's going to change.
Yeah.
They could have said, well, Uber Eats does it a little bit differently, this and that and that and that. No, they said, yes, it's going to change.
I wonder if you had said, like, is my pay rate going to go down for the work I do or for the miles I drive or the time I take? Because when you said change, they're thinking, oh, yeah, it's going to change. It's going from a good split to per mile, per minute, whatever they're going to do. That they're like, yeah, it's going to change horribly. But I wonder if you had said, like, is it going to change to my benefit, or at least so I don't lose a dime?
I think I would have still got some type of PR corporate answer still.
Yeah, right. Or no answer.
No. But though I will give them that they did include it like in that same communication. But I mean, the biggest thing I kick myself about is that I got approved for Corner Shop for about 4 months before I actually ever took an order. So that time when I could have been, taking advantage of it and wasn't.
I know that you knew this, and a lot of people I talked to, even after I had news up on the website forever about Uber acquiring Corner Shop back when they did, and from Peru and all this and stuff. But I was like, recently I was kind of shocked. It was like 2 or 3 different people in one conversation where when I said, well, Corner Shop's Uber, they were like, no, it's not. And these are like veteran gig workers who I was like, who didn't have Corner Shop yet. They're like, no, it's not. It's an app that's going to come to my. I'm like, yeah, it's an app, but it's Uber bought it. It's Uber's. Yes. I mean, that wasn't ever. I guess what I'm saying is that wasn't ever a hidden fact.
No.
None of us heard about Corner Shop till Uber bought it.
Right. I think the only one that I think that was probably up on the Corner Shop game from as far back as I remember was Gig Life, who's the only one that when it came to looking up Corner Shop, had a bunch of videos, and that's where I kind of learned a bit from.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
As far as I learned about them was kind of after the fact. It said Corner Shop by Uber at that point.
I always like Gig Life stuff, but I really have been digging his TikTok stuff.
Oh yeah, he has a lot of other stuff. Maybe awesome.
I'm getting older, and my mind just get like I can't watch something for more than a minute. No, I'm just kidding. It's like, but I mean,
maybe TikTok is inverting your mind into that.
No, moment. he uses like I'm not sure how old exactly he is, but he uses music from like my dad's generation, like the late 70s, and like like Fleetwood Mac type songs and stuff to go with like sad incidents that he's like showing. It's really crazy. I guess the part that I found interesting was the genre of music he picked, and he doesn't step out of it. It's all like this.
Back at that.
It's all kind of like, at least on TikTok, it seems to be like a 78 to like 84 soft rock thing going on in the background. But it always works. Everyone he does is awesome. I don't know. It just works. But yeah, in fact, I know, but I'm not sure how much, but I know he's younger than me, and I'm younger than that generation a little.
I want to say he's probably, so I'm 38.
I was going to say 35.
My age range. Yeah, I'd say plus
35.
minus 5 years. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's 15 years younger than me. So, I mean, like, he's using songs that, like, yeah, I remember that from being in my dad's car and listening to the radio. That's the
classics,
kind of songs.
The classics are always going to be classics, though. So that's the other
But
thing about that music.
right, yeah. but they're like they're not one-hit wonders, but they're like those rare songs that when you do hear them, you're not like, oh, not another genre of this or whatever. Even if you do like that, it's like those ones where they're kind of like the deep track type things. It's like
kind of more of the hidden gems.
Okay. Yeah, he just seems to nail it with that genre. I don't know, he has it. So okay, so we got some news tonight for sure. First, I want to give thanks out to Solo and Moves and Middleton Tech for sponsoring the podcast. And also, you guys, Kim, and I think I started it. I don't know who else does it, but we all hang with Gary a lot from Middleton Tech. And Gary's, we always refer to Gary's stuff as, just go get Gary's apps. And then he's always like, dude, don't say that. You can't go get Gary's apps. You got to go get Middleton apps. And so when we were doing Sunday Fun Day, the live yesterday, I said, I was just sitting there and I was like, I wonder if Gary'sApps.com is available. And both Gary and I looked at each other like, no, it's too short. And then we were like, but wait, it just might be. And he checked and he's got it. It's already forwarded. So now I can actually say Gary'sApps.com. So now it is Gary's Apps.
Gary's apps, Middleton Tech. That would have to be so worried about what we say. No matter what we say, it'll be right.
See, that's even him doing it.
Gary'sApps.com. Love
like
it.
Middleton takes you to the landing page. Gary'sApps.com takes you right to the apps page on Middleton's site where all of his apps are. It's perfect. Gary'sApps.com.
He's gonna have to rebrand his whole company in a month.
But I also want to give some props to, let me see if I have a banner here for this. I know I did. Where is it? I'm going to try and put this website up, you guys. And okay, so I know that a lot of you are familiar that this is happening on June 30th in St. Louis. Maybe some people RSVP'd that they're going to go and something has come up, life has changed, and you're not going to be able to go. I would ask that you guys let Pedro know that. He is really, as we reach the last week here or whatever, we're really coming into some it's getting close. But as we get into the home stretch here, he's trying to figure out how many of the people that signed up on the guest list on the website 3 months ago maybe can't come, or also who is coming that hasn't signed up on the guest list. And again, everybody can go. Pedro's been so kind about all this, and some of the people helping him sponsor it are, Solo and Para and things that I work with too, and Buckle. So it's going to be some good stuff, but just try and help him know. Remember, this is a much more grassroots led conference of it. Really just everybody's been asking me what it is exactly, and I keep saying that I at least think of it like, yeah, we'll do some networking, but the networking's been done. It's more for me to face see all these people that I've known for a long time over the internet. I've probably spent more FaceTime, if you consider this like what you and I are doing, FaceTime, with all these YouTubers and my friends in the past 2 years.
That's crazy to think about.
But I mean, it's true. But it's, I mean, it's changing. It's coming back a little bit now, of course. But I mean, like, even as it was rolling out, like, hey, let's do something this weekend. Okay. Oh man, my girl just got COVID. So like everything would go out the window so quick, even if you did get a plan going, that, it's just been a safety way for all of us. And now we're going to all be able to meet in person. So just nobody come with COVID and give everybody COVID, because that would be a really bad thing to have a buzzer.
That'll be the stain of next year.
Or if it does happen, you all have to fake it that you don't have it.
Imagine next year we try to do the 2023 gig worker conference and people are like, oh, did you hear about what happened last time we went? We don't want that.
Yeah, so but I'm looking forward to meeting so many of you, even some of the creators coming. And then I was on the website the other day, and that's why I was saying, if you haven't updated or you haven't like registered, like Faith, if you're in here still, you haven't registered. and you're going, you need to register absolutely. But then there's other people who might not be going anymore. Help Pedro out. When I said grassroots, I just mean it's like him and his notebook trying to like kind of, okay, we're gonna need. Yeah, he's got the park rented and everything, but now he's getting down to that last minute. What do we need? Type stuff, and it would really help him. So I'm just, if you haven't been there, go there, check it out. You don't have to register that you're going. You can just check it out. If you have been there and you've registered and something has changed, or you have more guests, go there and edit it to say +2, 3, 4, whatever. But I just wanted to give that plug because we are 9 days out from this. So
I think this is going to be amazing opportunity. I think that's so awesome that it was like an idea. It was just an idea, and it was brought to fruition. It's becoming such a big thing, and I think it's going to be a great thing for the community. Like you said, a lot of people that have talked to each other over the last years through the internet, putting that face to face, and I think even for the creators and non-creators alike, a chance for creators to collaborate with each other, a chance for non-creators to see that creators are just normal people at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Just like everybody else.
I mean, I got to tell you this. I think you know this, but I've been working with Para. I've been working with David since April of 2020. So like 2 weeks after the pandemic started with autonomy.jobs.
Mm-hmm.
But then when he and Jimmy started, or when they kind of were like, hey, let's merge this into to Para in, what was it, summer of, or March of, it was probably like December, but it was like March when it really launched of 2021. I was there through all that too. We were going to do a thing here in Colorado. It didn't pan out. Everything was so pandemic based. David was in China. We talk all the time. We work together on this level. And I have still never met him in person, and we're staying in the same house. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, just stuff like that, man. Like I spend hours a week with David on the phone talking about just everything. Para issues, other things, what's going on. And now it's like, I get a weekend with him. We're like 3 days in a house, and we're gonna, try and make it fun. And I don't know. It's just gonna, to me, it's not, if everybody else that's attending and isn't a creator and there's a bunch of them. Yeah. I mean, John McCallion and I are tailgating out together. He's in his car because he's going farther afterwards, like up to Cleveland and stuff. Mm-hmm. And I'm turning around, but we're caravanning out together. And, like, we're both scheduled to have like small, like I think real small, like just kind of like get up and like say some things, we're like one of the 9 people speaking or whatever. Mm-hmm. And if people like, want to get into that and all that, that's awesome. But I am really, more than anything, even a lot of just non-creator types that I know their names, even seeing some of the faces and stuff. And I'm just looking forward to meeting everybody, man. I mean, it's really gonna feel. I've never had an event like that in my life. Where for 2 years I built relationships with a whole community, and they're all not going to be there. I get that, but the ones that are there, I all know by their face. I mean, it's just going to be like, hey, and like, it's not going to feel like, hey, we met over the internet once. It's like somebody I talk to all the time.
Yeah, it's not like when people do online dating. It's like, hey, we've been texting for 2, 3, 4 weeks, and now we're in person and we're awkward. It's going to be like, hey, we have this shared passion and interest, and everybody here does. So I think that's going to.
Although I'm going to see, because Hannibal and I get along so well, I'm just going to, as a joke, although he's listening to this. Is Hannibal in here? Not so far. Okay, I'm gonna try and make, like, when we meet Hannibal and I in person, I'm gonna try and make it completely awkward. Like, dude, this isn't what I thought you were. And
you can say, you could try to. Well, no. So it would have been hilarious if you waited to get your hair cut and then catfished everybody and then got down there and be like, "Sorry, I wear a wig on my shows. This is my real hair."
Yeah. I just wear that mullet for the appearance. Okay, so let's get into some of this news, because some of it's pretty messed up. And tomorrow, by the way, I have a very rare 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern. I'm doing a live piece with Mike Karubi. I already did one with him, but we are going to be going through pretty much everything. AB5, what happened in Massachusetts, that's already a law that they're not going to vote on.
That's crazy to me.
He lives in Massachusetts, and he's worked with the Senate there. He worked for the Senate for years. He has his own federal legislation that is going to be going up against the PRO Act and everything, showing how everybody can be an independent contractor. It's about fighting the ABC test that they're trying to now push into every state, which makes it impossible. And we're going to talk about the 70,000 truckers and what it's doing, and the that they actually started getting a little motivated. I don't know if you've heard this, John, but the 70,000 truckers that are independent that now just got pulled off or got thrown into the AB5 world. Like now they can't be independent. So AB5 went into effect January 2020. Pandemic hit March of 2020. And everybody already had their carve-outs from AB5. Anesthesiologists, lawyers, doctors, all the people that were going to get it already had it. And so the truckers got it, even though they didn't meet any of the criteria, because we needed them for supply chain. We needed them during the pandemic, all this. And every time the Superior Court met, it just was getting kicked. Should we address that trucker temporary carve out on AB5? It's like, no, dude, just leave that. And it just get kicked down the road, like as if nothing's ever going to be done about this. Don't worry about it. Well, Ron Entree Courier and I have talked many times about how this is not just being kicked down the road. At some point out of nowhere, they're going to pull it. And they did. The week after they had that overturn of the abortion, there was early in the week in the Supreme Court, Monday and Tuesday, because they did it on a Friday, and on Monday and Tuesday, they passed through all like 6 things that none of us we all would have been like, what? But we were all so focused on this, on the abortion thing, that it just kind of happened. So unless you knew, it was like AB5. So it was like, okay, well, all the truckers in California now have to be with a company and a union. You can't be an independent trucker. So 70,000 truckers are out of work as of right now. It's AB5 is gone, and they have no carve out. But so they're taking the trucking paths that get you to the port, and they're blocking them with their semis and making like a maze to have to get to the port for the union truckers. So I point that out because there's probably about 50 ports in California, but there's 3 major ones, Long Beach being one of them.
Right.
And Long Beach, they're making the 15-mile ride for a truck to get into there after off the highway. They're making it about 2.5 hours right now.
Whoa.
And yeah, they're having stalled out trucks that aren't stalled out, everything. Just like, sorry, can't move it. Like and I point this out because that's the 70,000 truckers. Now wait till they don't overturn AB5, and because everybody in California is ready to boil anyway. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not talking about the gig workers who temporarily get Prop 22. That's just a joke. And that's going away anyway. So that's gone. But I'm talking about all the people whose businesses and lives were ruined. I mean, they've been waiting, and now the truckers are like their army. Now that the truckers are like, wait, we got our stuff pulled too. Everybody's getting very heated again. Like, well, wait a minute. Let's get them.
So it's kind of the truckers are already kind of taking their steps towards that civil disobedience already. Doing things with their stalled out trucks. Yeah.
Like the day they did it, the next day there was a plan in mind. I mean, it's not like watching some of these groups that are like, let's virtually strike Instacart.
No, they're taking action.
It takes a month to put it together. Nobody does it, and it does nothing to the company. And the company's like, you guys wasted that time doing that. And I know to them it's not wasted, so I'm not dissing on anybody. But this one was, okay, AB5's gone for you. They were ready. The next day, they were all, I mean, it didn't even take like all this planning and stuff. They just all knew, hey, if this ever happens, this is what we're doing, because the plan went right into motion. They were blocking things, blocking highway exits, blocking entrances during rush hour.
Like, so definitely coordinated, pre-discussed, pre-planned.
And it's not just for trucks. They're blocking traffic for cars. Like, hey, if where you got to get to, because I got all your groceries or I'm supposed to be driving all your groceries and I'm not allowed to.
I mean,
You got
California
nowhere to
already
go.
has some of the worst traffic in the world, so I can only imagine taking that up a notch.
Yeah. And how far it'll go because, we're actually 7 days into that or 8 days into that decision now.
Mhm.
So it's like, okay, they're already doing that. Once they get a little more boost behind them, and then once I think it's the 22nd, which is this Friday, is when the 14th District Supreme Court will rule on if Prop 22 was unconstitutional. If they do, they
I didn't know
can't
about that.
they can't say that January 2023 Prop 22 goes away for some reason because of the way this went down. And this is, again, it's not something how things normally happen. Normally, you don't introduce a bill into law and then the people say, well, we're not going to pay that. They say, okay, you didn't get a carve out, but we'll allow you to have a vote if on Prop 22, if people think that you shouldn't have to follow this law. And it won by 3 million votes in California. And in California, it's
That's a
it's
solid
the one
margin.
state it should have lost it. But 3 million votes is a lot. It brought them up to 68% of the vote.
Yeah, that's a solid margin. Yeah.
I mean, that's a solid margin. And so nobody wanted it. They still inflicted it. And then now they're saying that, well, okay, so this was a constitutional violation. I was telling Gary just yesterday, I was saying that how on earth because the 208 million that was spent by the gig companies, Lyft, Instacart, Uber, DoorDash, and I don't think Grubhub, it was like another one, but how the 208 million that was spent there, how are they gonna here's how I saw it. Prop 22 was never even a win for them. When I saw Prop 22, I'm like, why do you even want this? Like, because to me, it just seemed like employee. It's like, we'll pay you 120% of minimum wage. We're going to give you benefits. We're going to, you're being subsidized on every order. We're now charging a $2 AB or Prop 22 or AB5, whatever they label that as a line item to all our customers. I just don't see how that was Prop 22 doesn't seem like much of a win. It seems as close to a business.
Like a lesser of two evils type of thing.
But
slightly.
Barely.
Slightly.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I just don't. I mean, I get it because that little difference is they'd have to be an actual W-2 employee. But I still think Uber's losing as much money as they would if they had gone to the model.
So the only thing I'll say is that when I think about these companies, the W-2 piece of it, I think is more of the back end, the payroll taxes. That's where I think they're saving their money. FICA, Medicare, all the stuff that they would have to contribute outside of the normal pay. The other
they do have to do benefits.
Okay, I didn't. Okay, I was somewhat aware of that. I didn't know how that exactly worked though.
Yeah,
I've seen some people talk
it's
about
partial. You're paying, from what I've heard, you're paying about 40% of a low premium because they got a bulk rate from whether it was like Kaiser or whatever in California,
right?
And so they already, like, let's say you had Kaiser, when they got the bulk rate, they already were going to be able to bring you down 20%, but now they're covering 60% of the bill, down 20%. So you'd probably be paying about 30% of what you were. If you're working 20 hours or more, it starts getting into all these different, like, how much do you work, all this, but then it does seem to play out, dude. I mean, like, if I could pay 30% of my health insurance that I pay, that would be huge. Because I'm an IC, I don't have it paid for through a company. I pay for it.
Right.
And, I've had to, over the years, instead of paying more, this is sad in America that over the years, I know it's been some tough years though, I've had to, like, take away some of the perks that I like from my plan now that it's more like a la carte plans, and so, like, I've had to say, I don't need that. Or if that happens to me, the deductible can be 20,000, not 10. Like, I've just had to go in and, like, tweak all this stuff to be like, all right, now it's the same price it was, but my insurance sucks.
Yeah, it's like you have to make riskier choices. You have to say, well, I hope this never happens, because then I'm gonna have to pay for that. But it's it's only a 10% chance or a 5% chance it'll ever happen.
Yeah,
but you're right, and you're still paying the same price, but you're getting less coverage. So I totally get that.
Yeah, I mean, to, like, keep just the plan I had would have probably been. I mean, I don't know. I would have guessed it would have probably gone up about 30% over the past 3 years, 20%.
I can only imagine after the way things have been going lately to renew that again next year. Imagine there's going to be another hike.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if it matters either. You might know, but I don't know if it matters. I've been with my insurance for a long time. And I would really hope that when it does go up, I can call them and say, listen, dude, I've been with you for 22 years. Not to say that they go, okay, we won't raise your price, but like they've got to have a way of like working with your old school clients and saying, wait a minute.
Well, at the minimum, they should show based on all of your claim history and whatnot. They say, okay, they should be able to assess your risk more accurately than somebody who hasn't been with them, and say, okay, based on this, we should be able to reduce it. And I always say, if the first person to get on the phone says no, it's my call center background. You need to speak to a supervisor. Let me talk to your boss.
It's so funny. Unless it's like the littlest nothing, I just say that out of the gate, and then they usually say, "What's the problem?" And I just say it again. I need to speak to a supervisor because I've called too many times, and I just know. Well, what's the problem? I need to speak to a supervisor because otherwise I'm going to tell you the whole story, and you're not going to be able to do anything for me. And then he's going to get on him. I have to tell the whole thing again. So can I just have him?
Exactly. It's crazy to think that just doing that opens up a whole nother world. If you don't get to that second level, you just
right. Sometimes they just do
small.
it too, like without any more questions. It's like, okay.
Yeah,
I think they've been kind of trained that, like, hey, if somebody calls and doesn't like that you're in the Philippines and you don't know what Colorado is, it's okay just to kick them to a supervisor.
Right.
But yeah, so that happened. So the what was this one? Okay, so this is this is from the National Law Review. It's classifying workers as independent contractors may soon become more complicated. That's from today, July 18th, 2022. So many, I'll just kind of paraphrase this. So many companies are using independent contractors, as we know, part of the workforce model. John pointed out what some of it is, some of the stuff behind. If every company could not, I've run companies, if every company could not have a payroll, you're almost guaranteed success. Payroll will kill you.
Payroll is the most expensive part of most businesses.
Yeah, it's going to just kill you. But it says, according to a Bloomberg Law Review, the Federal Labor Board has agreed to review a decision granting West Coast port truckers the right to form a union, signaling the board will take up the thorny issue of who's an independent contractor and who's an employee. The article notes that the vote count set for July 15th, so that already happened.
That just happened. Yeah, it's passed.
Will be postponed and the ballots impounded until the board reaches a decision. And the National Labor Relations Board, NLRB, spokeswoman said all that. And then the article also said Regional Director William Cohen said in his July 13th decision that drivers did count as workers/employees. So this is what I'm pointing out here is that more and more and more and more people are getting on board with this, even if they weren't before. I mean, and, we're only 1 year into this presidency. I know that, again, I'm not getting political. Nothing against the president, but this administration is very gung-ho on if one wish they could have would be every gig worker becomes a union worker. It's like, it seems to be like that this administration's goal. Let's make them all unions, make sure they're all protected. And I know they have the heart in the right place of let's make sure they're all protected. But we all know that there's money behind everything, and we don't.
That's what I was thinking too. Is I think the big part of it is the message is they want everybody to be protected, right? They want everybody to have rights, etc. Yeah. But as we were mentioning before, when you make people employees, that payroll tax, and so there's taxes that are going to be collected that makes everybody in the government that they go to the government essentially at the end of the day. So right. it's they want people to be protected, but they have their own benefits and their own angles they're shooting as well.
Yeah. But I mean, it's just crazy to me that, so like, oh, it was this was actually pretty funny. So I had David from Para on the stream yesterday too. It was a long stream, and it was an open stream, and then I had Roy come on, and Roy and David had never met. However, Roy used to not like Para, but he wasn't like a hater. He just didn't want to use it. And David and him get along like super well. David's like, dude, Roy, you are pure fire with your questions. And I was going, like, because I love Roy. I love Roy, but I was like, I would expect David to be like maybe not the first person to you know, like Roy to go, I love that guy. Because Roy like straight up said, he's like, you know, David's like, you know, I've only done like 200 deliveries. And I had to say, yeah, but I work with you. I know that you're looking at deliveries all the time and you're analyzing. You spend more time looking at DoorDash screenshots than DoorDashers like Flex who are doing it 15 hours a day. So, I mean, it's you're a master in the book. And then that's kind of when Roy jumped in too. And he pulled a Roy and David saw it, but he saw it from the good side because it was, hey, David, he's like, you know what? I didn't used to know about your app. I now, after talking to Steve, other people listening to you from time to time, he goes, I do believe that it's all safe, or at least like you guys aren't doing anything bad. He said, but he's like, you know, what I do have to say to people is he's like, why do people always got to be on David? You know what? He's out there making all you guys more money, but all you guys do tips and tricks videos every day, and all you can do is just complain while this guy's saving you. I was like, that's like a Para ad. It should be broke down and do like a little commercial. Roy will be Roy. Para.
I can see that would actually be an effective one. It'd definitely get people's attention. Say that much.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, but he was making sense too. You know, it's like, you know, I guess like what, you know, Para's not working right now. You know that, everybody knows that. But the thing is like last year when this happened, I was handling stuff on the app when we still had an open chat. And we were, and the app went down. I was just telling Dave every day and he had 100 things on his plate. He was in China. Everything couldn't have been more of a perfect storm. I was like, dude, just take the chat down on the app because I'm just blocking people and like getting into fights every day.
So
like
people just using it for malicious purposes now.
Oh yeah,
for support, just to talk trash.
Yeah, and it said for ages 8 and up on the App Store. Like we changed it, but it did. Yeah. So like there were people in there using it that I think were like teenagers. That were like doing all kinds of nasty stuff because you could create a Para account without connecting anything to it.
Okay, yeah, I can see that.
You know, so it was, but anyway, so it was just everybody was like, you're data stealing, you're doing this, you're selling my data, you're doing this, you're bad people. Like that was last year. This year, I feel like some of that camp that was like, no way, Para's bad, they sell things, came over to the app and said, no, I think I'm going to use it. Like, well,
it's been around a year now at this point. Yeah. So people are like, okay, it's not a random fly-by-night operation. There's faces and names they can put to things. It's a little bit, they got a little bit more skin in the game, as they say.
Yeah, and it's also that, you know, like the people who are hardcore, they're still hardcore, no ways, they'll never touch it. At least they're not screaming data theft anymore and all this other bad. They're just quiet. They're just like, I don't use it. No. Okay, that's fine. Don't, you know, nothing against anybody who doesn't use it. I've always, in fact, that was kind of my thing, was I was supposed to talk people out of using it. So people are always like, they'd be like, sell me on why I should have Para. I'm like, that's not what I do. I'm like, you have to tell me why you want Para, and I'll tell you if it's a good fit. But if you're going to say it that way, I can almost say it's not a good fit.
I mean, that makes sense.
You know, you're looking for a problem out of the gate. That just reminds me, like, if you were the person that got deactivated for yelling at a customer, you might be the kind of troll that was like, well, I got deactivated because of Para.
Well, I mean, it's the type of person that has a problem for every solution.
Yeah. Yeah. So before we get into these Uber files too much, we were talking about this Amazon Grubhub thing the last couple weeks, right? This partnership for Prime. And I found a little article that, because we were trying to figure out how you could have the Grubhub for a year and not get the auto bill after the year's over for $9.99 a month.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's, by agreeing to it, you're agreeing to, as soon as the year is up, you'll pay $9.99 auto pay a month. Now, Gary asked, and if you turned off auto pay, your Grubhub Plus wouldn't work. So if you signed up for the year and then said, but turn off auto pay, it would say, well, turn it off when you're done, because as soon as you turn it off, your app won't work, or your
Really?
membership, and it's, I guess it's
Yeah.
free. I get what they're saying, but like if I pay for a year of Amazon, or if I get the Major League Baseball package, which I get every year, okay? So if I get that, the second, it always makes me be auto pay, but the second I do it, I can go in 5 minutes later and turn auto pay off.
See, most of the apps are like that. You sign up for the free trial and you can cancel it, but it'll give it to you until it's over. The only thing I can see that being different is, you said the auto pay, you can't turn it off until it's technically a 12-month trial versus like a 30-day trial type of thing. So that date is so far in advance. The only other thing I'll say is that from what I read in the articles is that this, it may happen in a year that it may, they may charge, but I also read that they may reevaluate that whole deal in a year, and maybe they'll do another year of that free Grubhub Plus with Amazon Prime, depending on how things go, of course. If it still makes sense for Amazon to offer that as part of their Prime memberships.
I think that it will we'll be able to tell at the end of the year, because Uber or Amazon has a buy-in option at 2 to 15%. If they buy nothing, it's over. If they buy 2%, I'm not really sure what they're doing. Like, I didn't even understand why that exists. Why would you want to own 2% of? And I know it's not Grubhub, it's Just Eat, but.
So the way I understood it was a little different, that they already own the 2%, but then the option to go to 15%.
Oh, like they're
based on
the 2%.
Yeah, because I think, and so what the way I understood it is that that's going up to that 15% depends on how many people Amazon gets to sign up for Grubhub Plus. But I think somewhere in the background, of course, if Amazon gets 15, we'll say 50 million or 15 million, or basically gets enough market share to really compete with DoorDash through this membership, and those Amazon Prime members are ordering, Amazon is probably going to negotiate how much that extra 13% is going to cost them, because it's not going to be the price they initially went for. They're going to get a steep discount on that extra 13% to go up to the 15%. Because I'll tell you what Grubhub won't want is Amazon saying, okay, well, we're just going to cut this all off. Good luck trying to keep those customers.
Yeah, exactly. I was looking at this comment. I'm trying to figure out where.
So I think that was in relation to the government wanting to basically make independent contractors employees.
Okay, because I just wanted to make sure. So if that's not right, let us know, because if it's a union question that you think is related to para or anything else I was talking about, I just want to bring clarity to that. But if it was what John just said, then it's all good. So here's Gary's comment. They have the option to buy 2%, but up to 15%, depending on the signups. But see, again, I'm all confused. So here's what I'm looking at now, though. There was just a couple wordings in here I wanted to bring up that I thought were weird. So what is included in the Grubhub Plus perk? So Prime members who opt in will get a free 1-year subscription to Grubhub Plus, the food delivery service's monthly membership program. That's a deal at $9.99 a month, $120 a year. With Grubhub Plus, you get unlimited free delivery on $12 or more orders at participating restaurants. Now, I want to know which is, because remember, Grubhub just burned every restaurant in New York City not long ago.
Free lunch.
It's like when they do things, they burn the restaurant. So I want to know, where's the list of the participating restaurants?
So I'm guessing that's kind of like how within any of these apps, whether it be with DoorDash or Uber Eats, there's like the big chain restaurants like McDonald's, Chipotle, those big restaurants that they have the contracts with, where they're like, we have an agreement for free delivery on those places. I think that's what that includes, versus your local mom and pops where they're not quite there yet to give free delivery out. So maybe it's a reduced cost. A lot of the nicer restaurants, I'll say the Thai places around me, you still have the $2.99 delivery fee, even if you do have like Dash Pass or whatever the subscription service is.
So it's okay. So it's not free, A, and why is the buck being passed to the restaurants? I thought Amazon and Grubhub were trying a deal out here to see if it was going to work and giving you a free subscription.
So I don't necessarily think it's so I think it's more of the case that that's kind of the standard right now. Some things are free, some things you got to pay for delivery. Even with the other places, they don't give you the free delivery on every restaurant.
Sure.
I think the biggest benefit is more so. I don't really think it's so. I think there's two big benefits technically. Number one, for the customer side, just the if you're paying $10 a month for that whatever subscription, now you're getting it for free. So it's just that savings, the $120 a year value. Now, from the from the restaurant perspective, there's potential value in getting more customers. Of course, we know how those margins and all those different things happen on the back end. So that's why I say potential value. But even then, there's a lot of instances of customers saying, hey, I might order through this restaurant the first time or discover them through an app. But in the future, I'm going to go directly to that restaurant because, hey, I know how much fees, Grubhub takes from Joe Popper, Mama Schmo. And so instead of going through, the app in the future, then, okay, I discovered this new restaurant. Now I'll go support them by calling them directly, going to their website, or even going to eating there in person. And if this deal with Grubhub doesn't work out, they can still keep those customers in the sense that, hey, now that things are opened back up, hey, I'm still going to go to this restaurant in person. So I think there's potential for that.
Yeah.
But still, we know that these delivery apps, they take a hefty cut from these restaurants. So it's a price that they pay to get that exposure.
Yeah, we've had a couple of ideas floated on why this happened this week. Like, why did Amazon team up with Grubhub? Because so many times we've talked about Grubhub is really only worth their database.
Yeah.
Their value is really only their database. If maybe not, I mean, I'm not kidding. I would probably guess 5% is other assets you might be able to find, but really it's their database and their coding and everything. Amazon is leaps and bounds and planets ahead of them with a database. They don't need their database.
There's a lot of logistics, their database. Yeah.
Yeah. But then, and Grubhub is the most, I don't want to call them the worst because in different markets, different things, but Grubhub is the worst performing food delivery app.
Well, I would say that's why it only made sense from an investment point, is because they're probably the cheapest one to buy. DoorDash is going to be expensive. Uber would be expensive.
I guess my question is, if 95% of your business is a database, Amazon has a bigger database than anybody. Why wouldn't they just start Prime delivery? Kind of like they do with Whole Foods, but like, why wouldn't you just start it off yours and not have a separate thing? Like, okay, now through here you can get Grubhub, because a lot of people have a bad taste about Grubhub. Like, why is Amazon giving us Grubhub for free? I use DoorDash, or I use, it's like,
it's probably cheaper to I think it's cost. I think it's, cheaper to not have to reinvent the wheel. And maybe Amazon is like, hey, if this works out, then we'll really take on DoorDash. Because we know DoorDash is trying to compete with Amazon from their perspective. They started out with food. Now they're trying to get into packages. They're trying to get into basically just trying to step on Amazon's toes in a lot of different areas. And maybe Amazon is like, let's see how this works. And, if this works successfully, then we can decimate DoorDash a year from now.
Yeah,
that's my thoughts.
I guess if one piece of this could be revealed to me, I would want to, if I could see in this inside the head or the brain and the workings of one person or like one side of it, I would want to see in the planning operations division of Amazon what they see coming from this. Because no matter how many times I do that in my head, and I know you're analytical too, no matter how many times I do that, I just don't come up with a lot of bonuses that they get.
So I'll put it this way. I see it as a low risk potential. Well, it's basically the low risk, because I think if it goes bad,
almost no risk.
They don't really lose anything. So I think it's more of the low risk potential upside. Now, once again, what is that exact upside for Amazon or in Amazon's eyes? I mean, even looking at like DoorDash, I don't think DoorDash is profitable. It's not profitable. Let me say I don't think. I know DoorDash is not profitable. I mean, other than trying to roll that Grubhub business into them. But even then, like I said, I think the upside is limited regardless. I
Yeah.
think the risk is low, but I think the upside is limited regardless.
Yeah. The other thing that we floated out there this week was that maybe Grubhub, and I mean, this wouldn't even be a long shot. I can see this very much, is that maybe Grubhub was on the verge of getting ready to expand to delivery, like groceries. More grocery space than food. And maybe Amazon saw that as like, well, we have Whole Foods, but we really don't have that. Like, let's take Grubhub, ours, and see if, like, over the year, what can you do?
Yeah, I can see that. I know.
Because groceries is going to have to come into the play space. It can't just be Whole Foods and food delivery from fast food.
Right. And Grubhub doesn't have grocery delivery right now.
No. Well, Whole Foods.
Well, but considering in comparison to the other ones, Whole Foods is just that one grocer versus like an Uber Eats. I can get a fry, well, not fries, but like a Safeway. I'm going to say that again. On DoorDash, I can get a Safeway. I've seen Target orders. I've seen, multiple, which kind of gets into a whole nother thing because, initially I thought, okay, now if they take Grubhub into that grocery market space, are they competing with themselves, with Whole Foods? But not really, because I don't think a consistent Whole Foods customer is really shopping at all those other stores.
No, but you said something funny, like I can go to a Target. Yeah, but if you're in the Amazon app, it's going to be cheaper through them.
Oh, yeah.
So if you're already there ordering food, you're like, I got to go to Target, though. I'll just look it up. Wow, it's cheaper. I'll buy it there.
And, especially in a lot of cities across the U.S., same-day delivery as well. So you don't gotta even get dressed.
Yeah. So here was the second thing. Says it's a 3-part. It says when can you order Grubhub through Amazon Prime? So now, as of July 6th, when Amazon announced the news, Grubhub started processing orders from Prime members. They do so weird at wording this. As a Prime member, I was able to sign into my Grubhub account, link it to Amazon, and test out the service immediately by ordering some food. Now, here's what it says on how can Prime members activate Grubhub Plus. It's got 5 steps. To start using Amazon Prime Grubhub Plus, you can go to amazon.com/Grubhub, or you can sign into your Amazon account, click on the activate free Grubhub Plus, sign up or sign in to your Grubhub account, give Grubhub access to your Prime account. That one weirds me out.
Yeah, well,
because because Prime needs access to your Grubhub account. Grubhub does not need access to your Prime.
I think it's so.
Especially since
they're
having
that
you
way.
do it. Well, especially since they're having like activate your free Grubhub Plus after you sign into your Grubhub. So they're telling you to do all this offsite on their app, but then they're like, also allow us to see all your data with Prime.
I think so. I think it's worded that way, but I think it's probably more so that Grubhub knows, did you cancel your Prime account at some point and still try to have that Grubhub Plus access? I think it's just validating. Now, I could be wrong. I think it's validating
my concern was like, what access? Like, do they have access to see how much users, like maybe not exact items, or are they seeing how much users are spending in markets or areas or whatever? You know what I mean?
Like, I don't see the benefit for Grubhub for that.
Because they would know to target those areas where people spend a lot of Prime money.
I think it'd be the other way around. Like you said before, like Amazon want to have access into your Grubhub account because they want to know where the fast food spending is happening, and then maybe run different promotions based on that type of stuff.
Yeah. I know Gary's in here. Gary, if you got an answer to that one, I'd love to hear it. But so yeah, here's where it says final thoughts. If you activate your Grubhub Plus membership for Prime, you should know that after the year is over, you'll be charged a recurring fee of $9.99 a month unless you cancel the food delivery subscription. If you decide you'll no longer want the service after the free year, you can do what I do and add a reminder to your phone's calendar to tell you to cancel the subscription right before the fee kicks in. That's the kind of stuff I hate. I am like a big opposition guy to auto renew unless you choose it. The default auto renew, I think those people should. I don't even know. Those people are criminals in my book, because I know like grandparents and stuff get stuck into that kind of stuff all the time. And then like a year afterwards, some family member catches it on a bill. And they're like, what are you paying this for? Oh, I don't know. That was supposed to be free. Oh, when did you do it? 2 years ago. You got a year free. Now you've been paying for it. And I just, that's a concern of mine, is like, how much of this are you hoping? Like, are you thinking like, wow, there's a lot of people on Prime. I wonder how many will forget to cancel it.
Oh, that's definitely a calculation. I mean, that's why gift cards are the biggest, I won't say scam, but like a stores love when you buy a gift card, because they get your money, and who knows if you ever get anything back from them.
Yeah, right. So yeah, I mean, that's that with the Amazon thing, guys. I'm just gonna say this real quick because I think it's hilarious, and if you guys know me and all, especially mainly before I was on YouTube, when I was running the podcast and the website, I've been talking about this for years. This eVTOL, the vertical takeoff and landing vehicles that Uber had and sold to Yandex, and then they had to buy it back, and then they sold it to Joby Air. Well, now Joby Air is stating that they just applied for their UK certification to be able to fly these death traps in Europe, and they're a California-based company, Joby Aviation. So obviously, we know they're not going to let them do it here, but it's not done. But they're actually applying. Usually, if you're applying, you have a good chance of getting it, because it's very expensive to apply for these type of things, and even if you don't get it. So but this is just another joke to me. I can't get over the wasted money. And I used to get really mad at Uber for this stuff, but even here they say the very first sentence, Uber backed Joby Aviation. Okay, Uber owns like 0.5% of Joby, because they were in eVTOL and losing so much money that they almost had to give it away. It's, I don't know. I just don't get it. And I don't get why all this money keeps being spent at these things. It's like, like we have Air Force pilots certifying that there are UFOs, and we're worried about a 4-propeller helicopter.
Well, I guess my question is like, what's supposed to be the benefit of this thing? It can vertically take off and land.
Because
how does that help anybody do anything?
Well, the original Uber plan was that when they started in San Francisco, every other building at least was going to have a VTOL pad on the top. And I thought, what? You know how those roofs on San Francisco look? They're like broken, like AC units, and like
what on a slope.
Like, what are you gonna do, dude? Are you serious? Like, maybe here's how I saw it. Maybe the airport in like one building would do it.
Yeah, that's
you'd be able to get from the airport to like right downtown on top of a building 5 minutes faster, 10 minutes faster than in a car. I don't know. But the whole technology sector there, if you see what they waste in this money, it's unbelievable. And the fact that, I don't know. Whenever I see things like these, even before the pandemic, I used to get mad, but now I get really mad. Like, there's so many things that need to be done in this world, not just this space, not just our jobs, but in this world. And I just hate seeing this stuff. Like, like it just makes me want an alien to come down and just like laser it all out. Just go. Yeah, start over, guys. You don't know what you're doing.
I see no practical need, application, usage at all.
Yeah, but it's a thing. I mean, there's Joby's not the only one. There's like 15 big companies dumping millions and millions into this space. To me, when I even look at it, I don't even get excited. When I look at the vehicles, I'm like, well, it looks dumb to me. First of all, it doesn't look like it can carry many people.
Yeah, exactly.
It's huge. It's got 4 propellers. I don't know. It looks like a horror. It looks like
it looks like it wastes more than it saves. Honestly, it looks like a really bad helicopter.
Right. I'd rather take a helicopter.
I mean,
they can vertical take off.
You couldn't find something. You couldn't make something electric with less motors. I don't understand. With only 2, 3, you need 6, really?
Yeah. So then it moves. Okay. So then we move into the Uber files. So the Uber files, if the funny thing is, I don't know if you caught this, John. I was talking about this, I think last Thursday, is that the Uber files came out, or maybe it was this, I don't remember what it was, but and it's 24,000 or 27,000 documents and all this stuff. And they're like, oh my gosh, look at what we've found. And Uber Lyft Drivers, my website that's been going, it's in its 6th year now, has every story that was released in those 24,000 documents. I mean, other than like maybe one or two, like let's say there's 100, like, whoa, like blow your mind type things. 98 of them are on my website in articles from 4 or 5 years ago. And we were talking about how, like, wow, dude, it took a TV show for people to go, wait, is this real?
That the HBO TV show, the one about Uber?
Yeah, the Super Pumped.
Super Pumped, yeah. I remember seeing the advertisement for that. I never watched it, but I kind of got a between the advertisement and the headlines about this, kind of figured out what was happening there.
It's a limited series. It's 7 episodes, so it's like, each one's like 50 minutes. So I would highly recommend. It's on Showtime. If you have the access, I would highly recommend watching it.
So I definitely will have to check that out,
dude. I would watch it because I was writing on all that stuff all during that time, and I was driving for Uber and all this, and it is so spot on. I mean, yeah, it seems like if you're watching it and you've never been involved with these companies, you'd be like, what? Can't be this bad. This is just overplayed. But it is that bad. It is that bad. So yeah, so in the Uber files, and then some other things came out. I don't know if you guys saw this. I don't know if any of you are familiar with what the National Bureau of Economic Research is. John, are you? The NBER?
No, I'm not.
So it's a publication that businesses think is the publication. Like, this is what's going to tell me real news, no BS. It's going to give me the lowdown on companies. Well, Alan Kruger, who was the former chair of the White House Council of Economic Advisors, was revealed last week to have been paid by Uber as quote, part of a production line of political ammunition that could be fed to politicians and the media. In the words of The Guardian, investigative reporter Felicity Lawrence. So basically, Uber gave Alan Kruger, gave him $100,000 to author the perspective on Uber that he's supposed to be straight up about. They paid him the money to write it how they wanted it written. Yeah, I mean, like right here it says.
I read that. To basically take a document that's supposed to have been impartial, that's absolutely not impartial. Yeah, I mean, pretty much take away his integrity too. Pretty much.
Oh my God, yeah. I mean, it says for context, it says more the NBER is more than a century old. It's one of the most. I mean, they don't put out a lot of stuff. So when they do, and it's mostly funded by U.S. government agencies, but also has a broad range of corporations and foundations. Usually that's a good sign to people. If that's like, wait, that's not good. That is a good sign. If the U.S. government, corporations, and foundations find one thing that they agree on can be a good basis of judgment, that is a really good, that's like bringing peace to the world. In the corporate world, because it doesn't happen. But so that's how they view this. And I mean, I guess we all need to view it like that. Like, this is like the sanctity of media and stuff. And it doesn't even publish often, but when it does, it's right. And Uber paid Kruger $100,000 for the controversial 2016 study, which had been cited by 981 scholarly articles to date. A payment of that magnitude is quote unquote is not trivial and is relevant.
Yeah,
it is. I mean, absolutely, dude. I mean,
easy conflict of interest right there.
Big time. And then right behind that, from today as well, I see that, and I've seen a couple of these, but this is if you don't know, if you guys know the Rosen law firm, they're kind of they're kind of famous for winning class action suits. And if you're not familiar with class action suits, they're usually not worth your time. I don't mean to be mean, but you're usually going to get like $1.61 in like 10 years, by the time it's all said and done. But these guys are known for winning big ones. So Rosen, Skilled Investor Council, encourages Uber Technologies investors with losses to inquire about securities class action investigation. So if you lost money in Uber as an early investor, they're taking you on a class action because of the Uber leak from last week.
Now that's where it gets interesting.
Real interesting, because they're not going to be, if this kind of class action passed, this isn't for like the people like us who invested 10, 20, 50, $100. This is for the people who were in it for 5 years, put millions in, got screwed, didn't get their place in line to get out early enough, and actually lost money. But some of that was pre-decided. So now they're going to do this. So it's like a class action for millionaires, though. I don't even think I've ever seen anything like that. Usually a class action is for blue collar or below. That's just what it is. But this is a class action that's going to be for investors and pissed off people. Again,
that'll be interesting, because that means that, there's, especially if they're talking about what the payments are going to be, how much the pain and suffering, for lack of better terms, that could be pretty big. It could be pretty big. The money going in was pretty big, so the money coming out would be, similarly sized, you would guess.
And I would imagine they'd penalize them. I would imagine there'd
damages.
be court fees. They'd have to pay the lawyer fees on the other side. And these are not, this isn't like, like I get in a car accident, we disagree on it, and the person that I got in the accident with, and I hire some lawyer. This is 500 lawyers on each side. It's going to be pricey. But yeah, so, and then Uber, another thing. So again, when was this? Today. Uber loses lawsuit to avoid collective labor agreement. So, they've been fighting for that forever, where you can't disagree with their terms of service unless it's a collective thing. And even that isn't allowed because there's no unions, and we don't want unions. But now they just lost the article, or they just lost the lawsuit. And you are going to be able to go after them regardless of your TOS agreement. So, you won't win necessarily, but you're going to have the right to go and plead your case if you want.
It's not an automatic arbitration type of thing anymore.
Right. And I'm sure, I've said this time and time again, Uber is in bed with so many cities and so many things that it makes, look at Maricopa County where you are. We were talking about that autonomous death. They send it to the county next door. They were like, well, we do a lot of business with Maricopa. I don't care if you do business with Maricopa. It should, the hearing should have been held there.
Yeah. So I didn't realize that. So they sent it to another county, saying that basically there's a conflict of interest almost with this one.
Yeah, and it was a very small county just east of you, and east of Scottsdale, like that had a population.
Like a Pinal County or something.
But it had a population that was just just thousands.
And
basically they were like put in this position of like they got funding from Maricopa County for things, but they had to give this outcome. And they gave the outcome, and the outcome just allowed it to go back to Maricopa County and be prosecuted. So Maricopa County was like, we can't get involved with this because we're on the side of the people of Maricopa County, but we're also on the side, but we also are in bed with Uber. We'll hand it over to these people. Everybody thought it was weird. They handed it over to them. They said, yeah, we find the driver was at fault, which wasn't enough to make it done, but it was enough to hand it back to Maricopa and go, yeah, she's guilty. And then they were able to say, okay, now we don't have a conflict of interest. And I was like, what?
Kind of like pointing the finger. We didn't say it. We're just the messenger.
Yeah. Or like, we're going to have them make sure you were at fault. If you are, we're going to take you to town. Like, why don't you let Uber deal with this? She's got her own claims to go against them.
Yeah.
It's just so much coming out right now because of that leak. And again, that leak has been available to find all that stuff for 5 years, but because it came out, this is what it is. Uber will pay $2 million. This is today. Uber will pay $2 million to disabled riders after federal settlement because they Regulators say the company's weight fee system discriminated against disabled users.
I've heard about that one, and that's
$2 million that they have to pay, and it's just the PR too. I mean, like the 80, you want to be on the bad side of the ADA?
No.
Yeah, I mean, like, dude, like, what you guys help out the handicap? No, we don't provide service to the handicap. I mean, like, this is not good.
But even this one, kind of reading about this article, it almost, the way that it words out is almost like a class action in the sense that they say Uber will credit double the total weight fees issued to 65,000 disabled riders already identified by Uber's programs and commit more than $2 million to funds for other affected individuals. It's basically a 65,000 is basically a class. And a lot of money going out. So it's not saying that they lost a class action, but it's in a lot of ways it's very similar to it.
Right. And you see that where it says, as part of the agreement, Uber will credit double the total wait times. Okay, so there's more suits coming behind this from the ADA too. I mean, I know there's tons coming from all kinds of places, but there's going to be more from the ADA. They're not done with Uber yet.
No,
I can just tell, it's like, if you're going after him for 2 million, you're going to start going after him for, why don't you have a car within 5 miles of every person, every location that can handle disabled?
Yeah, I mean, Uber's they're gonna have to change their I don't want to say their offerings, but the way that they're structured, in a sense that, okay, we have a lot of different Uber rides. You got the XL, the luxury, and all that type of stuff. But yeah, they're gonna have to consider it like normal, like almost like normal jobs do. If you had a normal job, a normal company, they got to consider ADA implications. They got to make sure everything's ADA compliant.
Absolutely. I mean, dude, even down to like, I owned a bar for a while, even down to like a bump coming into your bar for water seal and stuff. You gotta, I mean, if they get one complaint, they probably don't overlook it forever. But if they get one complaint, they'll come and make you put a bridge on that.
Yeah.
I mean, they don't screw around. The ADA will show up the next day after a complaint and go, why is this here?
Yeah.
Or why isn't this here? Put this here now. But okay, so then also in the Uber leak, so this is from the 13th, so this is when the Uber leak happened, but Uber faces suit from women alleging sexual assault by drivers. We've known this for a long time. But now we've got, how many are in this one? I can't remember. It's 550 clients.
Uber's going to be paying a lot of people for a while.
Well, and I mean, Anthony Lewandowski stealing secrets from Alphabet, Waymo, Google on the LiDAR, and then hiring into Uber and handing it to him his first day of work.
I remember you mentioning that before. I think we talked about
dude,
that
and then he gets sentenced to prison, not white collar. Oh, I'm going to play golf prison. He gets sentenced to prison because they're really pissed about this. They're trying to make a big deal, and Trump pardons him. He doesn't spend 1 minute in prison. It's just, I mean, it's just like, again, I can talk about all the problems of all the apps, but it is amazing to me the laundry list of the Uber problems.
Well, I think if you think about Uber too as an app, it's multiple things. Number one, they've been around. They've been around for a while, so they've had their they've had time to get into trouble. Obviously, the people that were working for Uber and the higher ups, they were troublemakers. They're doing illegal things. And on top of that, they got their fingers in so many jars. They got, obviously the rideshare piece. A lot of these are all related to the rideshare, but you can imagine there's probably some things that we just haven't heard of are related to the related to the food delivery side of things. So they got they're spread thin and they're not doing it with integrity. So those things are going to come to light. The fan is starting to hit right now.
Well, I guess so. My biggest question of tonight then is, because I've asked this before, I've had varying answers. I think I've even asked you, but I honestly am going to say I don't remember your answers. Is Uber too big to fail?
I don't. So only reason I will say no, I think we have answered this. And before, let me rephrase that. When we say to fail, will Uber always exist? I don't know, but I'll say, will they potentially have the potential to get bought out by other ownership? Now, that's where I think that's, how you describe that. Is it failing if, say, instead of, Uber being owned by Uber, say McDonald's and, food companies buy a big portion of it, and then Lyft buys another portion of it, and it still exists, but it's just not the same ownership.
Right.
That's what I think of being the future of it. But now that I think about that even more, with Amazon getting into Grubhub, if they failed, they have people that would fill the void. Obviously, Lyft would fill that void for the rideshare side.
Right.
DoorDash and Grubhub would fill that void from the food side. So they're not too big to fail in the sense that, if they failed, people would have a place to go. So that's kind of
that's
long-winded answer.
I used to have the answer of, I hate to say it, and most companies don't. Any company can fail. But I used to say about Uber that they are getting too big to fail because of some of the tricks they do, giving free rides to people, doing this, working with communities, doing this, that, the other, anything to help out cities and stuff. And they're global. They're the only true global one. But then you got like Just Eat, who bought Grubhub, that's over in Europe. So if Grubhub, they can turn around in the United States, then Just Eat is a bigger player than we thought. Like Lyft. Is Lyft too big to fail? No, I'm surprised Lyft isn't turning off the power and handing in the keys right now as we're speaking. I don't even understand how that company operates. I know they've lost tons, and then they start claiming that they're not losing as much, or they even might make money. And I'm like, where? You don't do anything except for rides, and all of them are down.
Well, that's the other thing that's kind of interesting. You said all they do is rides, and it's, for a long time, people say you don't like Uber, don't do Uber. They're the evil rideshare, go Lyft.
Yeah.
And for a long time, Uber was cheaper, and nowadays Lyft is cheaper. So, I think Uber can fail, but the one thing you mentioned, them being global, that's the scary part, because that's when, I may be wrong.
Yeah.
Can a global corporation really fail? They can rebrand, they can, be under new ownership, but ultimately fail and be gone with the wind. You're right. They might be too big to be totally gone. I would agree with that from that global perspective.
Yeah. I mean, I guess the one good thing is that a lot of countries hate them. So it's not like they're global and everybody's in love with them. A lot of countries are like, get out of here. And they're like, no. They're just holding their ground saying, no, we're going to stay.
I mean, if they left, who would they replace them with? I mean, it'd be a tall task for any single company to replace it.
You know what, though? But there was one place in the world that told Uber to beat it. And the first time it didn't work, they tried to come back, but then they did it again, and they did it in protest with taxis and everything else, and it actually worked. They got Uber out of there, and Uber has no urge to go back, and the taxis are back in business.
Where's that?
Is Spain.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I don't know if it's everywhere in Spain. I know Barcelona. I know that, Barcelona did what the truckers in California are doing. They blocked all the roads, so you couldn't drive to work. You couldn't do anything. They said no. They blocked around the hotel entrances so you couldn't get in. So they went to the wall and said, no, this is not, we're not going to have these private hire cars just pulling in front of us. Especially because they're not private hire. They haven't been rented in advance. They're just somebody in an app going.
It's just me and you going to try and make some extra money.
Yeah. But they got him out of there. They went there once. They told him to beat it. They offered him money, and they told him to beat it. They left, and then they did what they always do. And Uber came back and just started operating without telling them. And the second time, the taxis took to the streets, and the government got on board very quickly. I would imagine there's other countries like that too. And plus, there's Didi, there's Ola, there's other ride shares out on that side of the globe.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got we've got our food delivery companies here in Europe. They got Deliveroo, and they got Just
I've heard
Eat.
of them.
Yeah, and they've got another one that I'm thinking of. I can't remember it, but so there seems to be enough, and they're big ones all over that could take up the market. But it is still just Uber. That when you think of Uber, you think of, they're on the whole globe.
Yeah, it's kind of like
Any
you
of the
think
other
of,
companies you
burgers.
mentioned, it's like, well, where are they?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, you think of burgers, think of McDonald's, maybe Burger King, but I mean, it's like I said, that market share being around the globe. I mean, there's a lot of small players. They could get in there too, but will there ever be enough? That's the eternal question.
Yeah, I mean, it really is. So, yeah, I mean, that was really the beef. I had a couple other articles if we wanted to hit into them, but um, there's a couple, and they're all, by the way, they're all on uberlyftdrivers.com in an article posted today, the 18th. So you can find all the links, even of the ones we didn't get into. Like, there's 12 recession-proof businesses, and I thought this was kind of funny because when you first start scrolling down, it's like consulting. Okay. And then the next one, freelancing. Okay, well, nope, states are outlawing that. That's actually illegal to do. So
The freelancing, yeah.
Yeah, that's not recession proof. That's actually an illegal job in many places.
Will you get fourth on that list, gig work, which I would
Yeah,
I'd dispute that. That's recession
online
proof.
marketing. That's all the people on AB5 too. So no, that's not true. Gig work, nope, not true. As soon as Prop 22 goes away, that's not true.
Home repair and auto repair, I will give them that. You know, people will need their cars and houses repaired.
Online reselling, be careful because now it's not $19,000; it's $600 for the threshold.
Oh, I didn't realize. Oh, I didn't know about the $600 threshold. I wasn't aware that it was 19,000 previously.
Yeah, 19,000. They decided that if you spend over 19,000, you need to tell us about it. But now they're like, we don't trust you at all. If you spend over 600, you got to tell us about it. It's like, dude, are you kidding me? Like, if I have a garage sale and I guess I got to like claim the items that were over 600. That ain't happening. I'm not gonna.
I made $595. That's how much I made at the garage sale. $595.
Yeah. But yeah, then there's the there's a good article in there too if people want to read it. Real-time digital disbursements boost long-term loyalty among gig workers. This actually is a really good article to read, you guys, because it talks about how even non-gig working world, like because of inflation and everything else and not trusting companies even. So it goes beyond. People are wanting a system where they're paid daily, no matter what they're doing in life. They don't want to have these long outs anymore to get paid. They want to have options to get money that day for that day's work, no matter what they're doing.
Yeah. So the interesting they mentioned that at a job I previously had, and it was my first job out of college, as a matter of fact, they paid weekly. And there were so many people that, this is the only job I've ever had, they paid weekly. And so many people would say, oh man, I love this job. And, I love getting paid weekly. And they leave it and they're like, man, I'm just getting paid weekly. And they didn't realize until I think maybe a year or two later that that's one of the selling points of the job, or getting people to get, new hires was, hey, you get paid weekly. And people are like, really? And then it changes people's mindset. When they get paid weekly, it's that dopamine hit. It's that every Friday, if you know it's coming, I'm getting paid.
Yeah, we were running some tests at Para about, and I put up a poll asking people on YouTube. I asked people if like all the platforms you work in a day, you're multi-apping, if it's 6 p.m. or 7 p.m. at no charge to you, you could have all of your money from the day collected and put into your bank. Would you want that? And a lot of people were like, no, dude, nobody's gonna want that. And it was like 84% wanted it out of like 90 votes.
Yeah, I mean the biggest thing, if people could transfer their earnings every day without getting charged those fees, they would.
Yeah. Because I mean, especially now, dude, people don't want anybody holding their money until it's paycheck time.
Exactly.
Because things are just more money. So what you lived on before might not get you by. And I mean, you might argue that, well, being paid more often isn't going to help you. Well, yeah, it does, because you're just going to, it's like learning to take more shops to the grocery store before the pandemic. You would save money if you went to the grocery store 3 times a week as opposed to once big.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people don't get that. Like, they're like, I don't get it. It's
you shop differently because if you're just looking to pick up, what you need for the next 3 days. And you're going to make the things that you already have on hand last a little bit longer. I think the other thing that people don't realize is that sometimes a bill comes up and, and people, they pay that thing thinking, okay, I'm just going to wait until this is past due. And then I'm going to pay that. And then you get these fees and then they get buried in, what was, your bills, your budget was $1,500 a month. And all of a sudden it becomes $1,600 a month because you're paying fee after fee.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'm going to check in chat here real quick, but that's about all I had this week. And I see that I just ran over a little bit, but I also saw that on Sunday we had a guy join us. And I saw he was in here in the chat. His name is Sean, and he drives a semi, and he joined into the stream. And Sean, I'm not seeing it through Sean Trucking with BS.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I saw that I think I made you a mod, or I did make you a mod. I'm not seeing the screen though, so hopefully you've got a mod handle. And yeah, if you ever want to join into other streams on Tuesdays and Thursdays, it's an organized thing, but like any of the other streams, always jump in. I like that you jumped in the other day because it was fun talking to you. I like talking to truckers a lot because I've written some articles. And so what's up, Cruise and Dasher? What's up, Sean? What's up, Rodney? What's up, Pull My Gig? What's up, Holly? What's up, Omer? What up, Flex? And Rodney, and yeah, I think that's about it.
What's up to everybody? I know I see Chris Taylor, Dasher Pass. I mean, all the people that you basically said what's up to. I see you as well. I see you guys as well.
Yeah.
I just don't want to be a parrot.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah. I want to thank John for joining me tonight. And I mean, I love having John on. I don't even know. I think it's like 4th time now.
I think eventually I'm stop being a guest. You're gonna have to put my name in the with Steve and John.
Yeah, exactly. Because he's becoming like he just I feel good when he's coming on because I know he knows just how to jump right in, and we've got a groove going. I do want to ask everybody here to check out John's channel if you're not, subscribe to it, like some videos, do some stuff. Also, do that with my channel.
Yes,
hit like on this video and hit subscribe.
Hit that thumbs up.
And also, guys, don't forget to sign up for any rodeo endorsed apps. So you guys know I don't put an app in there unless I believe in it. Have used it, know that it's not going to cause you problems, know they're not doing anything crazy. And I only have really one on there that is an app to make money. So I'll just go through the list. So the endorsed ones that are in my show notes are Moves, Solo, Gary'sApps.com, which is also MiddletonTech.com, which is the driver utility helper, Maximo, and Flex Alert. So you can just now, instead of all that other stuff, you can just go to Gary'sApps.com.
And I also co-sign Gary's Apps as well as a pretty much a long-time user, Maximo user as well. I use them every day. Every time, well, honestly, I use them every day because I'm doing grocery shopping. But every day I do food delivery, I use those apps. I'll put it that way. I'm
shocked if you were to tell me, oh yeah, I don't use Gary's apps, but I have an iPhone. But see, about the only reason I'd let you off the hook, because if you have an Android and you're not using Gary's apps, I don't get it. Because
I'll tell you this.
No, I'm saying because why would you not use it when you can literally set parameters on a daily basis and really get deep too, but have parameters that I'm just not going very far. Or I don't want to. I mean, anything you just don't want, you can.
I mean,
it just makes no sense to me.
Well, to that, on top of that, just the auto decline in itself is worth the price of admission to me. I mean, when I forget to turn that on, I'm like, why do I have to hit so many buttons? This is so annoying, especially when I'm running multiple apps. I got Uber Eats pinging me and trying to decline that. Grubhub pinging me in the background trying to decline that. DoorDash popping up over everything. It's hectic. It's hectic.
Nova Dasher uses them too, and Marco was saying that he was talking about the other day, and it's kind of same kind of thing I saw Flex in here. Same kind of thing Flex has said before. He's he turned down 200 orders one day and took 12. Dude, you got 212 orders and 12 were worth taking. Well, that should tell everybody why you need Gary's app.
Well, yeah.
Because do you want to hit decline 200 times?
Well, let me get my statistical side in it too. time is limited. So if you're taking 5 seconds, 7 seconds, 10 seconds to decline all these orders, when you could be declining them in literally tenths of a second, how many orders are you going to be missing out on? That way, they add up.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you're manually declining, you could potentially be missing out on good orders as well.
Yeah. So I would. So here's and I can appreciate this. A lot of people always say, "Yeah, I don't need the app. I don't need the app." I can, first of all, you get. I'm not sure what the DUH one is, but I know with Maximo you get 15 days for free. And again, it's not the thing I hate. It's not an auto renewal. You get 15 days for free just by having an email address. And then what happens after 15 days? Don't work. And you got to put in then you got to put in a credit card, but they're not auto billing you. You can try it without any credit card in there for 15 days. So I would say try it, because even some of the other features, maybe you don't need it for the this, that, the other, but I think you might be surprised if you get in there and see all the other things you're able to do with it. I mean, it's like the para flagging feature is in Gary's apps too, kind in its own right,
I mean, I think I have a video on my channel when I downloaded my data to find out, what's the best restaurants or the best averages. A lot of things that I'm interested in may not be for everybody, but hey,
right.
The option is there for you.
But the way he put it to me is he's like, man, I have thousands of filters. Like most people don't need any of the depth of what I have, but he's like, I got thousands in there. I don't know if that was just an overkill speaking and not like a lie, but just like inflating it a bit. But I mean, like that's how I know Gary well too. Like that's the kind of guy he is like, I wonder how deep some filters go. And like, if anybody even like, maybe there's one filter not one person's ever used, but he just thought of it like, dude, you'll need this. Like,
well, every time he's added stuff to it, I've enjoyed it. Because I know even in the last year, the automatic screenshot of things, I mean, especially even if you're a creator or not, I like looking at my history and saying, okay, I took this many orders. I thought I saw something from this restaurant. Oh, okay, I did.
And DUH is, you can run the app without paying the $9.99 a month or $99.99 a year. And by the way, guys, Maximo is even cheaper. His original app, $4.99 a month or $49.99 a year. Gary and I we talked about this yesterday. Most people find that either of those apps, if they buy the year's worth, you can pay it off in a day or two of working, like your year's worth.
Oh yeah, the 99. Okay, I was saying, it was like a day or two to make.
To pay off the whole 99 though. If you're doing, DoorDash, you can probably do that in a day or two, like cover that and say, okay, it's paid for the year, and it's so worth it. I don't know. I know that you're saying you don't really need it. If I was to, okay.
You're not doing okay. That makes more sense. Well, if you're not using DoorDash at all, then I understand.
Yeah, don't use the DUH app if you don't use DoorDash. It's not going to do anything. But if you do any of the others, if you do Grubhub, Uber Eats, Uber, or Lyft, use Maximo.
Yeah,
I mean it's the same filter type system, and but yeah, don't those are the apps that I approve of. That so Gary's apps, Para, Display Ride, Dumpling. And I'm always available at Steve at Rideshare Rodeo if you guys want to talk to me about any of these. I know all these CEOs. I know a lot of the people in the companies. And then the only real app that I ever promote, and I keep them in this list since the first day I learned of them and worked with them, is Curry. Because I still think you can crush it with Curry. I have friends like Jason Thierry up in Michigan has said, I never get Curry orders. Like he's not on the wait list, but he said, I never get them. And just last week he told me I'm starting to get Curry orders, like 3-4 a day. I'm like, you just got to wait till they're in your area. As soon as they land a client, and if it's a big one, like a paint supplier or something, then it's because it is the best paying app out there. For the work you do, it's the best paying app.
Now, let me ask a question, because I know Curry's a lot of business to business, for lack of better terms. Do they have good volume on the weekends as well?
Yeah, they have a great volume on the weekend because they have the people who do scheduled pickups and then drop them or don't show. Mm-hmm. So the price goes up on a weekend. So if like I'm sitting around on a Saturday and I didn't take a scheduled Saturday, I'll on any given Saturday, I will count on 3 to 4 offers to come through at like triple the rate.
Oh, wow. They're
which is
paying a pretty
already
good rate. Yeah.
right, which is already their rate times 3. Because it's like now they're like, we need 100 gallons of paint to this place yesterday. We are screwed. We're willing to pay for it.
Right.
I think that's what people don't get about Curry. That's where the money comes in, is because they get people going, dude, we have 15 people on a work site not doing anything.
They'll pay that money to lose less
they'll
money.
Pay whatever, dude. They will pay whatever. Yeah. I mean, they're just, it's basically last mile construction services. So even when it's not paint, it's plumbing supplies, other things. It's things that can't wait.
Right.
It's always last minute. Like I said, last mile delivery, but it's last minute too. It's like, a box of nails on a scheduled delivery with something else might only earn you $3-4, but a box of nails on Friday at 4 p.m., like 200 or 3 boxes of 200 nails might earn you, for an hour's worth of work, might make you $65.
That's a dream right there.
Because think about the construction site. They're happy to pay $65 to get the nails to finish up and go home. They don't care. Yeah. It's $65. They're just going to put as a line item towards the client anyway. So it's, it's to them, it's like, we need to get home. We can't do that till we have it. So they need it. So I think that the construction game, I think that's a really good space for last mile services, because I think that pay will stay higher. There's a little more to Curry, though. I will say that you gotta be on your game. You gotta be communicative. You gotta, if you take a scheduled ride, it'll like 2-3 times, twice the night before, once the morning of, you'll get this thing saying, send a plus back in a reply if you're still taking this. It's like, dude, I told you I'm taking it.
So they want to make sure you know that we know that that you're committed.
Yeah. Right. Yep. So yeah. Anyway, yeah. So I want to thank everybody in the chat for joining us. Sorry that I didn't get through all the chat tonight. I know it's a Monday and you guys get a little thrown when I do these Mondays, but it is what it is. Other than that, be safe, make money, spend some good into this crazy world, and we will see you back here next week on the Rodeo Podcast. And John, thanks for joining us again.
Oh, thanks for having me. Looking forward to it again.
Peace, y'all.
Peace.
And I'm going to sign off with, this is the guy who wrote, this is the song, or who did the song that is on the podcast. So I'm doing it on both ends of this one now. So you won't see us from here out, but if you want to listen to 30 seconds of my friend Tori Pater, he's pretty amazing.